Lazio 1, Bayern Munich 0. A very, very poor night for the Germans indeed. Thomas Tuchel under increasing pressure as calls for his job continue to echo throughout Germany and Europe. Paris Saint-Germain, on the other hand, 2-0 victors tonight. What was a really close game in the first half, but in the second, the man, 44 goals in 68 Champions League appearances for Kylian Mbappe, steps up, puts the ball into the back of the net, and gives them that opportunity. And Barcola, with his first Champions League goal, putting that game to bed and giving PSG that big advantage going into the second leg away at Real Sociedad. But the story of the night is Bayern Munich. It's Bayern Munich. And look, Lazio, decent team. Lazio are a decent team. But we understood something tonight. There's been a lot of, I want to go back to what we say in England. Chelsea have definitely made mistakes through the way Clear Lake and Todd Bowley run their club. And I don't necessarily know if sacking Thomas Tuchel was the right thing to do at that time. I know Thomas Tuchel has won a Champions League. I know Thomas Tuchel has won domestic trophies with PSG. I know Thomas Tuchel got Chelsea to a number of finals. But he ain't all that, is he? He is not all that. The talent that he has in this Bayern Munich team, just looking at their starting lineup tonight, okay, you have Kimmich, Min-jae, Goretzka, Musiala, Sane, Kane. And yes, they had 17 shots on goal. They did have 17 shots, but none on target. A lot of them were blocked, to be fair. Most were off target. There was a slow, lethargic, awful pace to that football. And I want to take nothing away from Lazio. Congratulations to them. They deserve their win. But you look at the players in the Lazio team, and I don't mean this rudely, they're not on the same level. And I know it's away from home and it makes it hard. But I'm talking about the actual football on display from Bayern Munich. I don't know all the laws in Germany, but I swear this is illegal. I swear he must be breaking some kind of human rights law in Germany by making the biggest team in Germany, the best team in Germany, play like this. 95 minutes in the game, not a shot on target. Barely a gilt-edged chance created. Slow, lethargic, pedestrian football. It was an absolute shocker. Absolute shocker tonight from Bayern Munich. They can turn it round at home in a couple of weeks. Of course they can. It's doable. But again, there's a player in this we've got to talk about. Can you imagine if Bayern Munich got early? Harry Kane and all that. I don't think they're winning the Bundesliga. Bayer Leverkusen look too good, too assured, too good. Even if Bayern Munich get through, I'm making this clear. This is just my opinion. There is no chance at all they win the Champions League. No chance at all. And I think it was LB that said this the other day. It might have been Stav earlier on today. Man United scored some goals past these guys. And we were all for at the beginning of the season. They're terrible. But I don't think they have terrible players, per se. And there was a comment that came through. I get what you're saying. I can't say that. I'm just giving you my opinion is there's no chance they win the league. Of course, there is Champions League. Of course, there's a chance it happens. My personal opinion, not a catch chance in hell. Terry has Harry Kane bottle job coming to Bayern now. He seems to curse a team wherever he goes. Look, that's going to be the banter. That's going to be the fun. That's what everybody's going to say and kind of laugh at. In my personal opinion, no. I looked at tonight. There was one half opportunity they gave him, very difficult in the first half. But where were the chances? Where were the balls being fed into him? Where was the creativity? Where was the movement? Where was the shapes? It was so poor. You've got Musiala, who's so talented, just going on little mazy runs every now and then, but there seems to be no instruction. And I understand that some people don't like modern day football because it is very regimented. It's all about instruction. But that's how every team plays pretty much. So if you don't have an out and out plan up against your opponents, it's going to be very, very difficult at times. And that's what I saw tonight. It was so difficult. Yes, they had 17 shots, as I say, but no real quality ones. It's crazy. It was absolutely crazy. Shocking coaching from Tuchel. I agree. I absolutely agree. But Kane would outperform Haaland if he played for a better team. Listen, I get you can say that, but you put Haaland in this team tonight. What's he doing? Nothing. Let's be honest with you. Haaland's a very good player. Doesn't score very many of his goals himself. He has to have things created for him. That's not an attack. It's just a fact. What would he have done tonight? He'd have been standing around, stuck it on his thumb. The same as Harry Kane, because they weren't creating anything. They weren't doing anything with the ball. People just miss him at Chelsea because everyone since has been dreadful. I agree with you. Since Tuchel, that Chelsea haven't appointed a right manager. But I do mean this now. I was someone that really rated Tuchel. Won the Champions League, was improving Chelsea. I'm now looking at him. When you're like, think about this. How ugly, I'm talking about his league form here. How ugly are you as a person if you enter a beauty contest and come second, but you're the only person in it? Imagine coming second in a beauty contest when you're the only one who entered. That is what it's like failing at Bayern Munich, especially domestically. Tuchel's ugly, man. And listen, that doesn't take anything away he's done at Chelsea. What he did at Chelsea, especially with the Champions League, was a remarkable achievement. But he has a very good squad. And they look absolutely dog breath. They look proper dog breath. They really do. He's coming back. He's coming back. Tommy Tuchel, he's coming back. Listen, maybe he'll do well for you. But, yeah, I feel like Tuchel's getting the Emery treatment. Yeah, I can understand that. To a degree. But for me, my friend, I'm looking at that style of football and it is bad. What are the chances he gets fired before Saturday? Listen, Bayern Munich, because the way Bayern Munich operate, they have a club plan. They don't hesitate to sack managers. He is on the edge. He is on the edge of losing his job 110%. I do think Bayern Munich have some deeper issues that go beyond their management. I think they've got some issues at recruitment level. I think they've got some issues at board level that need to be looked at and addressed as well. But this man is teetering upon the edge of being sacked. No doubt about it whatsoever. He's coming second in a one-horse race in Germany. He's out of the Pokal to a lowly team, and he's on the edge of going out of the Champions League. You ain't surviving that at Bayern Munich. Not on your Nelly. Never. Can't happen. In the other game, before I bring out my panel tonight, listen, I want to say well done again to Kylian Mbappe. Absolutely love this. I'll say kid. He's like in his mid-20s now, but love this kid. 44 Champions League goals. Surpasses Neymar in 68 games. The second highest goal scorer, 25 years old or younger in the history of the Champions League. I do think, by the way, Erling Haaland's going to catch that and overtake it at some point. But only Messi at this age had more goals in the Champions League than him. Phenomenal. And I love these goals tonight. His goal tonight was a poacher's goal. His goal tonight was just, listen, I think it was Traore was off the pitch. That doesn't matter. He just drifted into that space. And that's what I love about Mbappe. He's got great skill. He can dribble. He can take a man on. He's got a long shot. He can header. But he's got poacher's instincts. I absolutely love that about him. And it was an excellent goal. And I think I'm pronouncing it right. Strasbourg Steve will say yes or no backstage when I see him. Is it Bacola? Is that how you pronounce his name? Yes. Again, it's an interesting goal because he had a really heavy touch, but he managed to just get there before the goalkeeper and put it through his legs. So it ended up working really well for him. 2-0 advantage. If it was a 1-goal advantage, I was going to put a bet on Sociedad to knock him out. The PSG curse. But 2-0, I think they'll make it through personally. But yeah, the big story tonight is Bayern Munich beaten by Lazio. Tuchel on the edge of being sacked. I want your views. I want your opinions. Some super chats here before my panel. Barca and Bayern need to reset, living off old glories. Yeah, they're both looking absolutely shocking at the moment. What are the chances? Yeah, I've already done that one. Sorry. Arsenal has a big chance after watching Bayern and Real. Listen, City are the out-and-out favourites by a country mile, in my opinion. But then there's a bracket of teams underneath. You've got some heritage clubs that you would expect can get through because of experience and know-how by Munich, Real Madrid, etc. But then there are teams that are actually really good, like Arsenal, that have a chance, that have a real bona fide chance because they're a good team. And I know Heritage is there and I've not a great record in the Champions League over the last 20 odd years. But Arsenal are better than a lot of these teams. If they keep their heads, they're better. The pace that Bayern Munich play at, Premier League teams will cut through them. The good Premier League teams cut through them. Good Spanish, Real Madrid cut through them. They're poor. But there we go. Smash the like button, people. Thank you. It's not Tuchel. It's the Curse of Kane. Sounds like a horror film. Can you imagine if he wins nothing at Bayern? Well, he's close to winning nothing. Didn't he lose the Super Cup game in his first game as well this season? On the bench and lost, didn't he? Do you know what? Part of me I want Man United to win the FA Cup irrespective, because I'm a United fan. But in the summer, people said, why would he join Man United instead of Bayern Munich when he's guaranteed trophies there and not at you? Wouldn't it be ironic if we won a trophy this year and they didn't? That'd be hilarious. Oh, Harry Kane, can you imagine? He doesn't like, he's allergic to him. Maybe he's allergic to gold. Maybe he comes up in a rash or something. He doesn't want anybody to know. I don't know. Maybe he turns into a werewolf if he touches gold. So he does everything he can to make sure he doesn't have to touch one. I don't know. It's a strange one to me. Barcola. Okay, thank you, Strasbourg, for writing that backstage to me. I'm bringing out Strasbourg, Steve. Gunnar Souls is here with me. Winter Surfer's here and Ram as well. And I promise I won't be condescending to anybody during this show. I promise. But I may challenge their opinions. Gentlemen, welcome back to the show. Get Strasbourg, Steve, there with his Lazio.
My boys. Oh, my God.
Big win.
I called it too. I called my shot. Bayern don't install any fear in nobody. I've seen Werder Bremen beat them. I've seen Leverkusen just suffocate them, just like we did today. I mean, it was honestly like we put in a hell of a defensive shift. And I love the sub, Lazzari. When Lazzari came on for Hosai, who went off injured, I thought he was outstanding. I think the way we defended Zane was brilliant because we weren't too aggressive. And I just thought, like, man for man, Felipe Anderson in the first half was just, wow. He was unbelievable. Defensive interventions, picking off teams like, I mean, geez, I can't even speak, bro. But no, I knew there was a route to win the game because Bayern don't offer anything. And so if we could just get something, a trademark Ciro Immobile penalty, scored 200 goals at the weekend, his 200 Serie A goal for Cagliari penalty. So, look, this guy is incredible, man. Ciro. I mean, Jesus, what a pen. He's underrated, man. He's hella underrated. And he took that penalty with some style.
He certainly did. He certainly did. Souls, what game were you watching? Both games tonight, or just one?
I wish I was sleeping. Honestly, I swear down. I went into a Champions League football. I got Conference League standards. What was it on today? Like, don't get it twisted. There was good moments in those games, but the overall quality was not of a Champions League night. Now, like I said, like Real Sociedad had a few standout players as well, which I wanted to look at. Kubo looked good as well.
Yeah.
And Barcola was one I really wanted at Arsenal. Again, just like Rasmus Højlund, I feel like it was a season too soon for us to be able to go and get like sort of squad depth young players. So unfortunately, we did miss out on the two that I wanted. Also wanted to do Zubimendi watch as well. But Mbappe, that man is inevitable. That guy, you know what? We always ask the question of Messi and Ronaldo, that era's ending. Who's going to come in? And we got Mbappe and Haaland. We have got to be the most blessed generation of football fans because we're going to constantly have two powerhouses going against each other. I don't know when the last time this has happened back to back where you've had generations of footballers who come in and are going for that sort of greatness spot. And Mbappe right now, in this game, it looked all done. For me, I thought this was going to end 0-0. I thought the Lazio Bayern game 0-0. And out of nowhere, Barcola and Mbappe just get their goals. But I'll be honest, like Steve said, I'm not scared of either of them. I'm not scared of PSG and I'm not scared of Bayern Munich. Like, I feel like if we come across them, we'll get our revenge on Bayern Munich. And if it is PSG that we play, I reckon we'll actually slaughter them. Other than the Mbappe factor, I actually am not afraid of anything. That Dembele looks like a shadow of himself. He's not been the same player for a very long time. And I'm not afraid of their defense either. Donnarumma doesn't look like the Italian that we were all promised. I'll be honest, like at the moment, none of the teams who have played in the Champions League this game week fear me. Like even Real Madrid didn't look up to it. Man City didn't look up to it either. And yes, that could be the opposition not being as good as what Real Madrid are or Man City are. But I'll be honest, like I give us a very good chance to get very far in this competition.
Listen, I don't disagree. I think you have got a chance. Listen, Mbappe's dangerous. They've got some good young players, but the football doesn't look brilliant. Bayern Munich, look, they could go out. I've seen them. I've probably watched about 5 or 6 of their league games this year. I've watched the majority of their Champions League games because they were in Man United's group, and I wasn't that impressed. I haven't been that impressed. Man United scored 3 goals against them in Munich. The game at Old Trafford, we were on our knees. That was our worst point of the season as well during that. The injuries, performances, on our knees, awful. And they still struggled in that game for all intents and purposes. And for me, again, I know a lot of people like writing Arsenal off, but it isn't doing so well. Some good news, though. As of right now, in the race for the extra Champions League space after the opening first leg so far, Italy and England are the 2 teams in the top 2 positions to get them. So, of course, you've got, Dortmund could do something in this. You've still got Spain sitting a few things below. I don't think the French, Belgians, or anybody else is going to do it. It's literally going to be between the Germans, English, and the Italians. So, listen, I'm not going to lie. I want Arsenal and City to go as far as possible, really, without City winning it, because there's an outside chance of a 5th place spot that Man United might grab. And with the way my club's behaving at the minute, I wouldn't be in it. But Ram, what game were you focusing the most on tonight? What game are you watching? Or both?
It was the Bayern game. The Bayern game I was watching most because...
I want to ask you, Thomas Tuchel, only a few years ago, people were saying he's my Jurgen Klopp. He's Jurgen Klopp level. I mean, this guy looks like he's leaving and Jurgen Klopp's going in, bruv.
He's a fraud. He's a fraud, Terry. Honest to God. Like, people forget last season, he almost bottled the league. It only took Jamal Musiala to save his skin to win that Bundesliga for him to keep his job.
Well, and Bayern Munich and Borussia Dortmund flopping against a very poor team on the final day.
Against Mainz.
But the majority of the game against Mainz, they were losing. They were losing 1-0.
They went 1-0 down very early.
So, and Bayern made a huge mistake letting go of Julian Nagelsmann because they wanted to try and maintain that treble run, which ended up flopping because Man City ended up battering them. So it just proves everything that I've said. Like people will want to go about Harry Kane, he moved from Tottenham to Bayern. Obviously, I'm going to look at him sideways because, look, it's all good, well and good scoring goals, meaningless goals against the likes of Darmstadt and teams like that on Bochum. But when it comes to games where you've got to prove yourself and you've got to show that you're a world-class striker, you're nowhere to be seen. But I'm looking at Thomas Tuchel. Like, it says a lot when Thomas Müller comes out against after the Leverkusen game and calling you a sellout. Like, he literally went on camera saying you are a sellout and you're not a good manager. And then you're having falling outs with Joshua Kimmich, who's arguably Bayern's best player. And I think they're their captain as well. So I'm looking at Thomas Tuchel being like, you're losing the dressing room. You're not getting results. You're going to yet again flop in the Bundesliga again with this so-called great team. Let's not forget, Leverkusen spent a fraction of how much they spent this season. What they signed Kim Min-jae, they signed Kane.
Harry Kane.
Like, they signed so many players. Guerrero, they took him off their rivals, Dortmund.
Sacha Boey.
Like they've signed all these players, and
the worst.
Now we're saying that Leverkusen are going to beat them to a title, and they're going to not win a trophy for the first time in almost a decade. This is going to be since 2012. This is going to be the first time that Bayern Munich have won a trophy in a season. And I'm even including the Super Cup.
Yeah.
That's wild. And people are still holding on to the fact that, he won a Champions League with Chelsea. How long ago was that?
Yeah, he's a one-hit wonder.
Yeah, I mean, Winner Surfer, obviously he was your manager, but he's looking a little bit like Chesney Hawkes right now, you know. Peter Andre. Yeah, a bit of a one-hit wonder. I mean, I know he did great things for you, so you're going to have a sentimental spot for him, but this Bayern Munich team is looking dreadful.
No, there's no sense. I thank him for winning that, but that was a 7-game run. The rest of the games are he's bang average. I mean, Di Matteo won us the Champions League. No one's hiring Di Matteo, even after we let him go. I think he is. I don't know. I think we all heard about him being like a tactico, you know, before we got him. But I think he found us. I just don't think he's evolved. Like I said, in 3 years, I just don't. I think this has got to be the worst Bayern team since we beat them in 12. I think, in terms of the way it's set up.
Yeah,
you have. I just don't understand his tactics. I don't know. He went free at the back at the weekend to match up Leverkusen. Hadn't played that all season really. And then he's gone back to a free here. No shots on target. I saw Harry Kane playing as a defensive midfielder partly today. Thomas Müller out on the right, who's like 38 years old or how old he is right now. Musiala on the left. There's nothing. There's nothing there. Essentially, I don't know what he's doing.
So easy to defend against.
This was nothing but a nepotism hire by Bayern Munich. This is all it was. If this guy wasn't from Germany, he wouldn't be hired by Bayern Munich in the first place. Yeah. He just wouldn't. He hadn't earned the right to manage Bayern Munich. Nagelsmann left because he fell out with people. That's the only reason he left. He wasn't doing that bad of a job. And like you said, Ram said, when Tuchel was hired by Munich, they were on for a treble when he bombed out of the Champions League and the Cup right away, like he's done this season. He's lost to a third division German team in the
Saarbrücken.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know what it is. I think he's vastly overrated. I thank him for in the Champions League, obviously, but that was a 7-game run. If you actually look at the way we played in the league, maybe for 1 or 2 months at the time he was here, we were good. Otherwise, I don't rate him that highly at all. I'm sorry. I
tell you what.
I think there's a romantic revisionist history of Chelsea fans with Tuchel that somehow he was the greatest. You know
Amazing.
What I mean? I just remember his last game bringing on Hakim Ziyech to play at right wing back.
Oh, against Dinamo Zagreb.
Yeah, and we lost.
I tell you this.
That Gallagher's got Kante traits as well. So you know,
I tell you this.
ID stinks, Terry. To get the fact that I'm seeing Eric Dyer play at the back for them in a back three against Bayer Leverkusen at the weekend. Honestly, someone's got to tell me if it was April Fool's.
And De Ligt's on the bench
because that was a disgrace.
Honestly, and you got someone like De Ligt on the bench. He's crazy.
He's made by bringing in Harry Kane. It's not really Harry Kane's fault, but he's made them literally Spurs. If Harry Kane doesn't play well for Bayern Munich, they don't do anything. They don't do anything. What do they do?
But even the talents don't look like themselves. And Musiala doesn't look like a Musiala of like a few seasons ago. Like Sarri doesn't look like a threat anymore. Like you look at even Muller, right, in a Champions League night, you're telling me the guy doesn't pop up with a goal. Half of these players look like a shadow of themselves this season.
And I tell you this, he's lost the dressing room. He has 100%. Lost the dressing room. When your experienced player comes out and calls you a sellout after your biggest game of your season, that says a lot. And also the fact that their best player, he's also had a falling out because now there's rumors that he's going to be leaving the club, who is meant to be the future of Bayern Munich. And I've got to tell you this because Terry talks about this a lot. Bayern Munich as a club is a mess. Yeah. It is an absolute mess. Ever since Uli Hoeneß and Karl-Heinz Rummenigge both left, everything fell apart.
Floppy.
Oliver Kahn was meant to carry on with the dynasty, but wasn't able to do it. Salihimovic was more or less a fraud in the entire instance when it comes to doing the job as director of football. They are an absolute mess. And they need to sort of like regroup and find a way of actually bringing back the dominance that they used to have, i.e. they need to go out and find a proper director of football, proper structure,
Manager.
where they can actually build again. Because right now they're just limboing. They're literally limboing, and it could be another 2 to 3 years until we see Bayern Munich back again, which is
Also-
crazy in my opinion.
Also, Matty, the other Chelsea fan, put in, he must not be that bad. He got to 5 to 6 finals. I don't care about getting to finals if you don't win them. Plus,
Yeah.
one of them's a World Club Cup thing. We're supposed to get to the final and win that. And one of them's a Super Cup final. You get to that by winning the Champions League. You know what I mean? So let's be fair. Yeah, we're a good cup team. Fine, no problem. But do you know what? I'm not the one who put Kepa in a cup final against Leicester and he got scored from 20 feet
range.
out like he always does. You know what I mean? I didn't drop my number one goalkeeper like he did. That's the whole point. I think Tuchel needs, after Bayern sacking, Tuchel needs to look at himself and rebrand himself and go backwards to go up again. I'm talking about taking a club sort of like a Mainz type in whatever league, if you understand what I'm saying, and build up his reputation once again, because this stint at Bayern Munich has severely damaged his reputation as a manager and a coach.
Yeah, look, I agree. He absolutely. I think that's a really, really good point you made there. He just isn't it. He just isn't it, and he's drowning. He's absolutely drowning. And look, I don't feel necessarily sorry for Bayern Munich. You know, it's not like me as an Englishman to feel sorry for any German teams. So I'm going to be honest with you. It's kind of funny to see, but the frustrating element is it takes away a layer of competitiveness for the Champions League. And we spoke about this on Straight Facts this afternoon, that City are the outright favourites. You've probably then got Real Madrid. I don't remember the Champions League being in a position where you have one or two teams that you look at as, yeah, they could win it. And then everybody else, you just go, I don't see how.
Inter Milan, I throw in the top three.
Inter Milan could, yeah. A lot of people are bigging them up. That's true.
The problem with that is Inter Milan play Atletico Madrid. If I'm Real Madrid, Man City, or one of those, whoever comes out of that, I'm begging for a Bayern Munich draw. I think all of those teams will beat Bayern Munich at the home ground. And because, on a side note, Terry, I think I think UEFA have also ruined this by taking away goals as well. That thing about, you know, I think they've ruined it by not having that element on it. So in some
wouldn't have helped Bayern tonight, but yeah,
I know, but they should bring that back on the side. But if I'm Atletico Inter Milan, Real Madrid or Man City, Bayern Munich's, I don't fear going to Bayern Munich. I go.
Well, I'm a Lazio fan,
and that's a Chelsea fan saying it.
No, not as me.
No, I know.
No, I even like Stoles was saying, people might laugh like Arsenal would beat this Bayern Munich at the Emirates. I'm pretty sure they would beat them at the Emirates. Away they might not need to beat them because they beat them so badly at the Emirates. Do you know what I mean? Because no away goals don't count. So I don't fear this. This, like I said, this has got to be the worst Bayern Munich team since we beat them in 2012. The way it's set up, it's got to be the worst.
Certainly is, and you look at it, and yeah, Inter Milan got a chance, as you say, but outside of that, realistically, that's why when people say that Arsenal have no chance, I think it's crazy because
no chance. Yeah,
that's Arsenal. Look,
far.
When you actually look at the teams in there, you go, who's better? You're probably going to put Real Madrid. You're going to put Man City.
100%.
You could put Inter. I know some people do. But outside of that, how many teams left in it are genuinely better than Arsenal? Objectively speaking, how many are better than Arsenal in your opinion?
Paris Saint-Germain, you could throw that argument.
I don't know.
You have Kylian Mbappe. If you took Kylian Mbappe on Lazio, we might do something. You know what I'm saying? He is that kind of player. He really is that kind of player.
But even like Napoli have fallen off a cliff this season. So I wouldn't even think Napoli are there. They should.
Barcelona are a non-factor.
Barcelona,
to be honest, they're soft.
It's a great time. It's a great time if you're a decent team to be in the Champions League. And I'm taking nothing away from who wins it this year or last year or next year. Yeah. But this isn't like in my life. I can't speak for the 80s and the 70s and 60s because I wasn't alive. But in the 90s and the noughties, that's sort of from the early 90s right through until 2010, 2011, 2013, every year it felt like, even if you just look at the English teams in that period, the two or three English teams every year were considered, they've got a chance. Always Barcelona, Real Madrid, and often another Spanish team, Valencia at times, Deportivo at times. There's always two or three. Germany always had a couple of teams that could win it. France in the 90s, France and Holland had teams. But
Marseille.
there was genuinely a chance of winning it. Now you look at it and it's so top heavy where you've got one or two really good teams and everybody else. And I'm not saying it takes away from winning. It doesn't mean you're not the best team in Europe.
I know.
But I do hope that over the next few years, some of these other teams start to build genuine squads that are dangerous. You know, and I'm not, again, as a Man United fan, my team ain't good enough. I know that we're not. But I'm just talking about from an outsider looking in. I'd love there to be some draws where I go, I don't know who's going through today.
I tell you what,
the best teams. Now you get it with Inter and Atletico, but if Inter Milan were playing Man City, if anyone was playing Man City in the knockouts, we just go City.
You can make a case for Inter Milan because look at it.
Over two legs.
Yeah, it would depend. I think it would depend the order of where's the first leg, where's the second leg.
Good point.
I don't think it matters.
If they survive if Inter Milan went to the Etihad, let's say, and got 2-1 loss, maybe you go back to the San Siro. We've seen Man City against obviously Real Madrid are a far better side, but the point is they've gone away from home and messed up against Real Madrid when they had the 3 goals and it felt like 10 seconds to be honest. But yeah, the Inter one would be interesting, but yeah, outside of that, like Man City would walk all over Bayern home and away. We wouldn't, if Lazio played Man City, I think we'd defend well for a little bit, but eventually the dam would break. But
yeah, I look forward to seeing a Real Madrid Man City game over 2 legs this year, as they've got a bit, with Jude Bellingham in there. It's one of those things. It's why I almost want, if you put Mbappe in that Real Madrid team, that extra pack. Because I thought last year they lacked speed, and I still think they may be lacking a little bit of that at Real Madrid.
Terry, if I'm UEFA, I'm making sure that when they do the draw, make sure that the temperature on them to keep City and Madrid away from each other until the final, because otherwise it's just going to
that would make it more interesting. That would make it more interesting.
Interestingly, Gunnar Souls, I've got a question for you. Would you fancy playing City in a one-off game in a final or over 2 legs? What do you think is the best chance of Arsenal beating City?
You know what? Yeah, controversial. This is at Wembley. Wembley's our second home. We've won a lot at Wembley. Yeah, it's at Wembley this year. So,
that's true.
You know what? Might be a hot take. If we can make that final, we win the Champions League against any team.
I would rather play Man City in a one-off.
But like I said, we have to get to the final first. That's
Madrid don't mind Wembley themselves. They got a good record at Wembley themselves.
City's got quite a good recent record at Wembley as well.
Yeah.
We don't get beat at Wembley. That's the thing.
Do you know what, Souls? I actually hear that. I think that's a solid piece of logic. The understanding of it, the feel of it, the dressing rooms, the familiarity will be there. I just feel with City. Yeah, I've been thinking about this a lot today. I'm like, over the course of 2 legs, again, depending on the order of those 2 legs, if Arsenal were home in the second game and they don't lose by a heavy margin in the first one, I think you can knock them out. I feel like on a one-off game on a big pitch with the way Pep plays, I feel like they might get it done. However, I didn't even. I'll be honest with you, I forgot it was at Wembley, so I think it's a fair point there, Sol.
Right? We were 1-0 down. Everyone thought, City's beating us again. Then what happens very late into the game, 87th minute, Trossard comes on and scores. It brought to 1-1 and we beat them on penalties. But point being is Wembley is one of them stadiums that I look at and go, that's where we have the mental edge. That's the game where the players know this is our second home. Because every time we've gone there, we've delivered. Look at the COVID season, for example. Our season was a write-off. What happened? Aubameyang magic moments, right, against Chelsea and against Man City, by the way. So every single time, for some reason, that Wembley pitch gives us powers. I don't know what it is. But I say it now, if we make that final, it's the same way like I call England in the internationals, right? Make a Wembley final. The chances are 90% of the time they're winning that.
Can I argue the Champions League curse against you? Can it work against you? Can the Champions League work against that Wembley magic?
What if you somehow played Barcelona? Let's say Barcelona somehow, bribed their way to the final somehow, some way. Because that Barca team ain't that good. What if you play Barca? Barca have Wembley heritage too, They do.
I'll be honest with you though. There's lots of teams that say Arsenal make the final. Okay, say they do. If they're in the final against, I'm just going to name the teams that are still in it. If they get, they're not going to. It's not going to be PSV. But if it's PSV, Dortmund, Porto, Barca, Lazio, Sociedad, even PSG, in my opinion, Copenhagen, they're going to go out. Leipzig, I think they beat all of them. The only teams like Madrid, City,
Inter Milan.
are the only two where I outright go, I'd definitely have them as favourites. Inter Milan, it's very close. Very
it's
close.
Atletico
To me.
Madrid,
Very close. Outside of that,
Yeah.
I mean, I think Arsenal and Barcelona right now, as things stand in a one-off game, Arsenal win.
Arsenal
In
slap.
England,
Run
Arsenal
riot.
win. There's no doubt about it.
Arsenal slap them. Arsenal will
They
slap
do.
Barcelona.
But at the same time, I'll be honest with you, no matter what we say, no, I just can't look beyond. I don't want to say this because they could do another treble, but I just can't look beyond City. We haven't watched the other half play yet, their first leg game, but having watched the Champions League all year, many games from it, the one team that just stands out week in, week out above everybody are those sons of bitches. They're so damn good, but winning it back to back, like it's so rare. It's so rare to do it. That's almost the saving grace. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting one.
Terry, you need Arsenal to win this league title, man. You can't have us win the league title because we matched your league title count.
Look, I get that, but I'd much rather you match our league titles and then do a four-peat, because at some point we can win more league titles. It's not as difficult. Winning league titles is not as difficult as doing a four-peat. Like the four-peat. The four-peat hurts every single one of us because it's a record that maybe none of us will ever get. If they do a four-peat with a back-to-back treble, we are all done and in the mud. So there shouldn't be a single person this year, if they understand what we're fighting for as football clubs to be the best out there, that should be rooting for City in any capacity, because they set those records. Yes, they have less trophies than Man United and Liverpool collectively, but they would then have this team becomes the greatest English team of all time. And in my opinion, it will never be surpassed. I don't see another English team winning what they've won in 7 or 8 years, including a four-peat with back-to-back trebles. It's never happening again. So so for me, listen, anyone but City for me this year, as my team's rubbish. Banter on the pitch here says Arsenal have not lost at Wembley in 10 years. That's crazy. That's a crazy stat. Really is. Super happy that there's no away goals anymore. Now we are seeing what teams are made of. They don't sit back anymore.
Oh no, we did.
What?
No, we definitely did.
What?
We definitely.
I feel like it makes you sit back more
We
because
played a very excellent game defensively.
it's like when you have the advantage of an away goal, you don't want to concede. That's the main point of it. But right now, because it doesn't really matter, that's still the point remains is you want to get the best result at home and do the best you can away. So I don't think it really changes anything.
No, because I always remember when there's away goals, and everyone would go, "Oh yeah, if you get a 0-0 draw away." No, that's one of the worst results to get a 0-0.
Yeah, you had to try and score. And equally, like I hated it when it was on. I now miss it now that it's gone. I agree.
Jeopardy, right?
It made it exciting.
I'll give you an example. If Real Sociedad would have scored right near the end there, the whole result changes complexity. If Bayern Munich have a terrible night like tonight and they score a scrappy goal at the end, the whole night changes. And I think that's what I love about it, that one goal changes everything so dramatically at times. And when we won it in 99, I remember I want to say we drew 1-1 at Old Trafford against Juve, brilliant Juve team. We went 1-0 and 2-0 down really early. But it didn't really change too much because we needed 2 goals. When they scored, we needed 2 goals to go through. When they scored a second goal, we still only needed 2 goals to go through because of what away goals count for. And that jeopardy in changing it makes it so interesting where it doesn't matter if we conceded another one, we just got to score 2. It changed the mentality. So I do miss it now that it's gone. I really do. This year, he says Premier League bias is crazy, except City. Other teams are bums.
We didn't say that.
Yeah, what?
We didn't say that.
We've been
We just
literally
said
praising
it's-
Inter Milan the whole time.
Yeah.
And I'm giving Inter third favorites tag.
There we go. All my fellow Arsenal fans getting carried away possibly too soon. As long as Arteta doesn't bench Trossard as a false 9, we might do well in the Champions League. But if Jesus and Nketiah play, we won't.
Jesus' record in the Champions League is fine. He was actually one of the main reasons why City even had a chance against Madrid when they got knocked out.
I agree. Question here. I'm going to throw this one to Souls. Is Mbappe worth £1 million a week in salary?
Give him £2 million a week. That guy is a guaranteed you're winning everything. Even with City can cheat more. Give him double the cheating power. you're still winning more than them because you've got Mbappe. This guy, look at the World Cup. Mbappe had no right to score a hat-trick. There was nothing. The whole game, the man was marked out of the game. That game was done for Argentina. And this guy goes casually scores a hat-trick. It wasn't even a case of he tried to score it. Man just casually does it. And then today, look at the goal he scores today. You want to play deep, play deep. If you want to play him on the wing, play him on the wing. The guy scores or assists or does something out of nothing. There's very little players who do that.
He's going to score 50 goals in all comps, by the way. He is actually at his most. I don't think footballing-wise, this is his best season based off what I watch in Liga, Coupe de France, and Champs. I don't think it's his best footballing season, but he's lethal. He's going to score. He already has 30 goals in about 25 games in all comps, 30. He'll get 50. And that'll be his best ever season.
30 goals in 20. No, that's changed now. It's 30 goals in 29 games.
Yeah, so he'll get 50. He'll get 50, and then you can do the assists. He's
certainly on the way to that. Kane loves golden boots, just doesn't like silverware. This is true. Joyce here says, very sad to watch Bayern. FC Copenhagen showed more chest despite 8 weeks of break. Let's not be carried away by PSG. They are allergic to the Champions League.
You mentioned FC Copenhagen, by the way. They drew away to Bayern in the group stage. So if FC Copenhagen don't fear Bayern away, why should I? Lazio, why?
It's a great point. You weren't scared of Sporting or Villarreal, but they beat you. Champions League games isn't about who's scary. It's just about getting it done in 2 legs.
Some truth to that.
Do you know what it is, right? And this, again, might be controversial, but I don't think they gave a shit about the Europa League. That's how I've seen those 2 games. Because when you look at the mentality of wanting to win a Champions League, it's different to wanting to win a Europa League. When they play, like when Saliba was playing, you were playing casual. He wasn't really giving it a go. A lot of the time, they just wanted to go for the spectaculars. I think the mentality when they play in a Champions League game, and we've seen it in the group stage, by the way, as well, these guys we've had our best performances in the group stages of the Champions League than we have even against lower oppositions in the Premier League. So I just think the mentality is different.
I agree last season because you were always going to get Champions League football league position. The seasons before that, though, when you weren't guaranteed like top 4 places, that's when you probably should have gone for it more. That's when the mentality should have been, we aren't guaranteed a top 4 spot. Let's go for it. Do you know what I mean? Last season, no problem because you were always in the top. You were top for most of the season, so it's okay to throw away because let's face it, you're only in Europa League. You're only going to win Europa League to get into the Champions League. That's all it's there for. That's all it's there for, really. You only win it because of that. You don't win it to add to go. I've won the Europa League. You win it because you go to the Champions League. The last 2 times we were in it, we slept through it. You know what I mean? We just
No, I hear you there. This year says Arsenal lost the 2018
Carabao
Cup under City.
That's right,
It's Arteta's, who is undefeated at Wembley, both as a player and manager. There we go. As much as I love Barca, there is no way we are winning the next 2 games. Yeah, Barca are in trouble, aren't they? They're in trouble. They are. Listen, I want to thank everyone that has tuned in this evening to this show. We're back tomorrow. Some more content in the day. Top 6 show in the evening, previewing another action-packed Premier League weekend ahead. Do me a favor before you leave this evening or tonight or the afternoon, wherever you're watching around the world. Hit the like button. Please make sure you subscribe and turn bell notifications on. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And I'll see you.